Welcome to our part 4 discussion about your gastrointestinal tract. So beginning with the functions of the liver. So last time we talked about the blood supply of the liver. This time we have functions of the liver. So you have metabolism of lipids, carbohydrates, and proteins. This just means that your liver is able to break down these substances into substances that can be absorbed by the body or can be stored by the liver itself. Then you have synthesis of plasma proteins, fibrinogens, and prothrombin. So these are important. Plasma proteins now found in the liquid component of blood, and fibrinogen and prothrombin are important for the function of blood clotting. Storage of glycogen and various vitamins and minerals. So si glycogen is actually the stored form of glucose. So glucose can be stored in your liver as glycogen, and if the body needs glucose again, glycogen can go back to its form of glucose and circulate inside the body. Then you have phagocytosis of bacteria and detoxification of blood. So all of these are functions of the liver. So very wide ang range and scope ng functions ni liver. So here, this is what you call this, a small portion of your liver. So may siyang tsuras ang insides ng liver. You have a hepatic vein, your sinusoids, canaliculi, your bile ducts, your arterioles, hepatic portal vein, hepatocytes, and your Kupffer cells. So all of these help your liver perform its many functions. Your bile is normally 800 to 1000 ml per day ang ginasecrete. So its color is yellow, brownish, or olive green, liquid in color, and its pH is 7.8 to 8.6, which is also a bit alkaline, just like your pancreatic juice, remember? So the composition of bile, water, bile salts, cholesterol, and phospholipids, and its principal bile pigment is bilirubin. So bilirubin is what gives its yellow, brownish, olive green liquid color. And eventually, si bilirubin will be broken down into stercobilin, which is what will give color to your poop, and urobilin, which is what gives color to your urine. So function of bile are for lipid emulsification and waste removal. So this is how bile is able to get to your duodenum. So bile is formed by liver hepatocytes. So these are cells inside the liver, but bile is concentrated and stored inside your gallbladder and is only released when CCK or cholecystokinin is released. Okay, so CCK is what will allow your gallbladder to contract and will release the bile. So what is the pathway? Your liver has two lobes, your right and your left lobe, and each of them contain hepatic ducts. So si right lobe may right hepatic duct, si left lobe may left hepatic duct. So tanan nga bile diri sa left makadto kay left hepatic duct, tanan nga bile sa right will flow into your right hepatic duct, and they will meet in one common pathway known as your common hepatic duct. Right? So from there, it will get stored inside your gallbladder. So take note, the liver secretes or creates your bile, but it's stored inside your gallbladder. So here is hepatitis. What is hepatitis? This is inflammation of your liver. Hepatitis can be viral. So there are different types of hepatitis. You have your Hepa A, which is infectious hepatitis, usually due to fecal contamination. So your route is fecal oral route. So kung hindi makipag-wash ang hands, for example, pwede makontaminate ang food, clothing, toys, and even your utensils. Okay, but this type of hepatitis does not cause lasting liver damage. So it can be reversed. And mostly all hepatitis, all forms of hepatitis have a vaccine already. Next, you have your hepatitis B. So this is mode of transmission is bodily fluids, no? You have sexual contact and syringes, transfusion as well as saliva and tears. So this can be present for years or even a lifetime, and it can produce cirrhosis, or this is liver failure and possibly cancer of the liver. Okay? So mas deadly si Hepa B kaysa sa kay Hepa A. And individuals who carry active hepatitis B virus become carriers of the disease. So next, you have your hepatitis C. So Hepa C is clinically similar to hepatitis B, and it can possibly cause cirrhosis and liver cancer as well. Next, you have your hepatitis D. So this is transmitted like Hepa B, but in order to get hepatitis D, usually you need to be infected with Hepa B already. So Hepa B can lead you to be infected with hepatitis D. So nga lain-lain ila category, miss, this is because lain-lain man sila nga type of virus. For example, kung Hepa A ka nalatnan, it is caused by hepatitis A virus or HAV. Kung Hepa B, HBV. Kung Hepa C, HCV. So amo na sila different types of viruses. Anyway, hepatitis D can result in severe liver damage and a higher fatality rate than infection with Hepa B alone. So kung Hepa D ka na, mas deadly siya kay duwa na ka-virus RC mo. Hepa B and Hepa D. Hepatitis E is spread like hepatitis A but does not cause chronic liver disease, but it has a very high mortality rate among pregnant women. So si Hepa E, hindi siya deadly, di ba? Kasi Hepa A is not deadly. However, deadly siya among pregnant women, right? So this is Hepa E. So looking at these pictures, these are examples of what you call as jaundice, or yellowing of the skin or the sclera of the eye. So ang aga yellow sila. This is because the bilirubin in bile, wala siya na broken down. Instead, it is circulating inside your body, inside your blood. So that's why it's showing up on different parts of your body. Next, you have your gallbladder. This is a pear-shaped sac capable of storing the bile. So it contains your cystic duct. So this is the pathway of bile. So from the two hepatic ducts, from your liver, it goes to your common hepatic duct, and then malabay siya kay cystic duct to get to your gallbladder. So na-store na di siya, remember? So once it is stored, CCK or cholecystokinin needs to be released in order to contract your gallbladder, and then si bile malabay liwat kay cystic duct into your common bile duct, and eventually to your pancreatic duct. From the pancreas, ma-meet na da sila and will all release into your duodenum. So your duodenum receives chyme from the stomach, receives pancreatic juice from your pancreas, which is alkaline, and receives bile from your gallbladder, which is also alkaline. So both of these are alkaline, while your chyme is acidic. So as you can see, may agita pang contrast ang acidity sang chyme sa kay duodenum. So next, we have gallstones. So gallstones, iyang medical term is cholelithiasis. Cholelithiasis means gallstone formation. So usually due to accumulation of bile. Then you have your cholecystitis, which is inflammation of the cystic duct of your gallbladder. Cholecystitis. Then you have choledocholelithiasis, which means that gallstones have become stuck in your common bile duct. And then you have cholangitis, which is inflammation of the bile ducts or the biliary system due to obstruction of the common bile duct again. So different terminology, but all related to your gallstones. Excuse me. Now next you have your small intestine. This is the longest part of your GIT, major digestive, major absorptive organ capable of peristalsis and segmentation. Excuse me. And then it contains lacteals or lacteals. So lacteals are these vessels found inside your small intestine capable of absorbing lipids because they are a form of lymphatic vessels. So for the parts of the small intestine, you have your duodenum, jejunum, and then your ileum. So ang last part, si ileum, will make a valve here called your ileocecal valve to connect the ileum to the cecum of your large intestine. Functions of your small intestine include segmentation, peristalsis, completion of digestion of carbs, proteins, and lipids, and 90% of absorption occurs through your small intestine. That's why very important hindi pagdalion ang absorption ng small intestine. Okay? Too fast, lesser absorption can happen. Too slow, too much absorption can happen. Okay? So amo na siya dapat just the right amount. So the small intestine contains various cells that are able to help with its function. Number one, you have your absorptive cells capable of synthesizing brush border enzymes. We'll talk about that later. You have your goblet cells secreting mucus for protection of the lining. Intestinal glands or the crypts of Lieberkühn for intestinal juice production, Paneth cells for lysozyme and phagocytosis, their antimicrobial function, and then you have enteroendocrine cells secretion of hormones. So damo functions kasi sa small intestine. So S cells secrete secretin, CCK cells secrete cholecystokinin, K cells secrete GIP or glucose-dependent insulinotropic peptide. So more on these later on when we talk about hormones. So we'll end our discussion here about the small intestine. Thank you for listening.